I haven't made a video in a few days, I think in about a week now, but then that's fine. I just thought that I should give it a rest a bit and let you guys ponder on the things that we have said. Okay, but anyway, notwithstanding, I'll just make a very short video today, and what we're going to be talking about today will be about the Tower of Confusion. Okay, that's the Tower of Babel, of course. I'll just read this briefly and then I'll put it down so that we can talk about it. Okay, so the Tower of Babel, yeah, that's in Genesis chapter 11, verse 1. Here goes. It says, now the whole world had one language and a common speech. Okay. It says, as men moved eastward, they found a plain in Shinar and settled there. It says, there they said to each other, come, let's make bricks and bake them thoroughly. It says they used bricks instead of stone and tar for mortar. Then they said, come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves and not be scattered over the face of the whole world. That's the whole earth. It says, but the Lord, Yahweh there being the Lord there, it says, but the Lord came down to see the city and the tower that the men were building. And he said, Yahweh said, if as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. It says, come, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other. It says, so Yahweh, the Lord, scattered them from there over all the earth, and they stopped building the city. That is why it is called Babel, because there he confused the language of the whole world. From there, the Lord scattered them over the whole face of the earth. Okay, now that's Genesis 11, right? Okay, now the reason why I'm actually talking about this now is very simple. Okay. As one who's African, um, it is commonplace for us to, when we look back, with the benefit of hindsight now, when we look back, we can actually say, oh, yes, our ancestors, they worshipped the gods, you know. Of course, now we know that those gods are actually angels, okay, just like Yahweh is, which our ancestors worship. And in different regions, you know, like myself, I'm Nigerian. So in Nigeria, we've got lots of languages, and all of that. In different regions, each tribe seems to have its own predominant god, you know, with its own local name as recognized by and all that. But now, with the knowledge that we know now, we understand that all of those things which we worship as gods, they're actually, I don't want to use the word idols, but that's what they are. But then they're actually angels, okay, which we worship in the absence of the knowledge of the true God. The same goes for those who worshipped in Jerusalem, the old Jerusalem, at the time, at the temple Solomon built. The same goes for them because they worship Yahweh. He's also an angel. It's all of that. Okay, now, my point now is this. If we study in the book of Daniel, okay, we'll find there's this portion in the book of Daniel where Daniel decided to fast for, he ended up fasting for 21 days. Okay, and that's because he wanted a response, he wanted information, from the spirits and all of that. Now, when the angel came to him in response to his prayer, the angel said, from the first day that you set your mind to fast, your prayers were heard, and I was sent in response to give you an answer. He says, but the prince of Persia resisted me 21 days, meaning that angel was sent, okay, to come and give Daniel the answer to his prayers in a vision. But the prince of Greece, what does that mean? The ruler of Greece, not a physical ruler, the spirit that's in charge of Greece at the time. Why? Because that's the part where the angel would part to get to Daniel. Daniel was in exile at this time in Babylon, which is in modern day Iraq. So this angel says, "Oh, the prince of Greece resisted me 21 days until Michael, the archangel, had to come, and join him in battle, and that freed him, and he could come deliver his message to Daniel while Michael battled. And he said, at the end of his explanation, he said, after this now, after he's done delivering his message to Daniel, he will go fight the prince of Greece. So the prince of Persia resisted him. Says, oh, after delivering this message, now he's going to go fight the prince of Greece. Now, my point is this: see, who are these princes of Greece? Jesus said, the prince of this world is judged. That's the ruler of this world is judged. So in Daniel's vision, it says, "Oh, the prince of Greece." Okay, what am I trying to tell you? What is said there in Genesis 11 is the the carving up of the world amongst the angels, amongst the powers that be. So men at the time, men spoke one language, one mind, one consent, and yeah, they decided, oh, let's build a city. Let's build a very tall city, a skyscraper, as with today. Let's build that and all of that. And Yahweh comes down, he looks and he sees and he tells his cohorts and he says, oh, if as one people speaking one language they've begun to do this, then nothing they decide to do will be impossible for them. So let's go down and confuse them. Let's break up their languages. So instead of speaking one language, we'll divide it into so many languages. Oh, Ukrainian, Spanish, English, German, Czech, name it. You know. So let's go and do that to them, confuse them, so that we can divide them. That's the divide and rule tactic. That's exactly what Yahweh employed there. So they came down and they caused confusion amongst men by imagine a people speaking one language and all of a sudden they don't understand each other. And you're speaking and the person who's understanding you is quite a distance away. Of course, you have to go to that person, right? At the end of the day, they gathered into groups. Each one that understands each his own language, they all gathered into group. They understood themselves. So in that way, they dispersed in terms of the languages they understood, and they all migrated. They all migrated together as a pack, and that was the start of the division of the human race. Now it's funny because you know this is a classic example of what Yahweh does and how his modus operandi is. That's one. Number two is that when you look at it, when you look at these actions, not only is it about division, it's about it's about cutting short man's progress. That's number one again. Number three, okay, would be the fact that Yahweh did not want humans to grow. That's the truth. Whether collectively as a people or individually. No, he didn't want it. He felt like it was a threat. Because what did he say? He said, if as a people speaking one common language, they have begun to do this, right? What are they going to do? If we leave them like this, there's nothing that they plan to do that will be impossible for them, you know. So what am I trying to say anyway? The bottom line of all of this talk is this, just to bring it to your remembrance, just so that you understand and you keep it in mind. The purpose of the division and those seeds which were sown millennia ago, years ago, okay, we are still experiencing the same thing in our societies today as a result of this divide and conquer tactic by Yahweh. You know, and of course that's actually very sad. It is the same thing that we're experiencing today. It is quite sad actually. It is. But anyway, that's fine. I think I just thought I'd mention that. Just keep it out there so you guys can keep that in mind. And have a wonderful time. So I will leave you guys here, and we'll speak some other time soon. Okay, thank you.